Adam Lerner, and welcome to this week's Friday Flickr photo critique. This week we have a very interesting set, lots of portrait stuff going on in here, and these images come from a guy who goes by galenphoto. I think his name is Philip, hailing us from Poland. And man, it's always so exciting to get photo sets from people around the world. Not that it's not exciting to get photo sets from people here in the United States, but it's just nice to know that the community exists in a global sense, that we're all kind of connected through our photography. It's our common thread, it's our common language, it's our common cultural connection that makes doing what we do so great and makes doing what I do makes me even love what I do even more. So let's start with this shot right here. We've got a really nice black and white, really thick. We got some very nice selective focus, and the dude's just casting a real kind of scary look with the smoke coming out of his nose. I don't mind that the head's cut off over here. I think in a situation like this, you've got all the context you need over here, and I like the way the frame is being, filled up over here with the smoke and all. It's just one of those kind of cool, intense portraits. And when you shoot somebody who's wearing a ball cap, particularly with a visor, oftentimes you get a lot of darkness under the eyes there. But this was exposed and or edited properly, and it looks really, really nice. Let us move on. Okay, cross. I don't really know what it means, but we've got a really lovely girl, really pretty eyes, and I like what he's done with the split toning here. I think it really, really works in this case. I think it really gives it that kind of filmy type of vibe. And again, I like the framing. I like the kind of closeness. I like the fact that she's not making direct contact with the camera, but you still have plenty of nice color and detail in the eyes here. I like the way the sun is passing through her hair. It's just a really, really pretty portrait, really nicely done. And this lattice work really adds for a nice texture, because we've got these lines and shapes, and then we've got the colors back here. So just really, really nicely done. Old timer. Yeah, I am not as much a fan of this image, and let me tell you why. This image is shot very nicely. The exposure is very good. The colors are cool, but I'm not as drawn into this. To me, it's like, yep, it's a picture of an old truck. So, nicely done, but I think that the other images are a lot stronger. Okay, Pavel Sachs. I'm guessing that Pavel is a buddy. There's something kind of cool about this. I'm gonna guess that a flash was fired. Let's just even take a look. Let's just go into the EXIF information and just see what we got going on over here. No flash. All right, so it doesn't mean that we didn't have one. Oh, it says light source was flash, but here it says no flash. So I'm gonna guess regardless that a flash was popped over here. It's nicely balanced, I mean, the ambient lights kind of close down back here so that you don't really have a lot of context, but it's a nice shallow depth of field. The bokeh's a little bit weird looking. Not really quite sure. Let's kind of see what this was shot with. I'm just going to pop back into the EXIF one more time. F3.3, 150 millimeter. And let's just try to see if we can figure out. This is a 50 to 150 2.8. I'm not familiar with that lens, but the bokeh, again, the bokeh is just a little bit weird. It's a little soft and kind of blobby looking. But what it does is that it does a very nice job of adding some texture to the top of this frame here, which I think really, really works. Other than that, the expression, yeah, it's a little flat. The dude's just kind of like looking off over there. I think it's cool. I would like to see a little bit more action, like maybe this dude Pavel like interacting with the Sachs in this kind of an environment. But nicely done. I will say that. Okay, let's move on. Agata and Zenit. Okay, another type of shot, I guess, where Philip is balancing or popping flash in a night setting. It's kind of cool. And just, I'm not quite sure of what's going on with the background over here. I think it's great that she's got a Zenit. I've got one of those as well. And I love shooting with mine. So yeah, this is pretty cool. I think the skin tones are right there. Again, she looks a little bit uncomfortable. That's just my take on it. Maybe she was having the time of her life. Yeah, I would, again, in this case, I'd like to see more. I'd like to see some other options, some other shots here. Oh, let me just go back over here. Old timer. I guess this is maybe that same car. I love these kinds of interior shots, where you just kind of get that big old steering wheel in there. I like the toning on here. I just, I love old cars. I love kind of vintage cars and motorcycles and all this kind of stuff. So I think this is a really nice detail shot, and I think it's really well done. I think it's well composed, and I like everything about it. Agata, I guess another shot of the lovely Agata, or Agata. I'm sorry if I'm mispronouncing it. Yeah, it's okay. I'm not really kind of sure what's going on over here. She's just kind of looking off, and we got some kind of softness to the or desaturation going on. Again, it's not. I don't feel it's as strong as some of the earlier stuff. Now, the funny thing about this shot is, there's something about shooting a white seagull on a blue sky. It just is one of those combinations that just works perfectly. And this was really well done. That you've got the seagull in perfect focus, and you've got a predominantly blue sky. So just texturally, it's nice. It's just one of those kind of nice, pretty nature shots. And interestingly, I did a very similar shot to this in Coney Island. And I actually, compared it, not compared it, but I put it in his post here. Here, we'll just go to mine. And, I just think it's kind of funny. We have a similar kind of shot here, but I like his very much. So let's continue to move along. Another shot of Agata. Look, she's a really pretty girl. I think that, we could have learned a little bit from Peter Hurley here. Maybe if she had brought her head a little bit more forward, would have given a little bit more definition over here. But, as far as headshots go, as far as portraits go, it's really nicely done. It's really pretty. Really nice catch lights, specular catch lights in the eyes. I really think that the portrait work that you do is really nice. Self-portrait, I don't know what the sign says. I hope it's not some kind of curse thing in Polish. But this is nicely done. It's kind of interesting, like what you did with the lighting in the background. It's a little bit heavily vignetted for my taste, but I like the way you lit it. I think your portrait work is some of the strongest stuff that you've posted up there. So I wanted to thank Philip for sharing his set. I think that you're really onto something with the portrait stuff. I like that there's a consistent look and feel to your work. I like the way that you've kind of developed your style with processing as well. And at no point am my comments meant to be mean or harsh, but they're just my opinions, and meant to be taken obviously with a grain of salt. So if any of you guys would like to submit a Flickr set or a 500 pics set, send me a set of what you consider to be your 10 best images, and I'd like to also have them look consistent, meaning that they either have a consistent subject matter or consistent style. And what I mean by that is that rather than sending me a sunset, a picture of your pet, a picture of your friend, something that somehow is cohesive. I want to kind of see what you feel is kind of the direction you're going in as a photographer. And that's it for now, and we'll see you soon.